guys, welcome back to my channel. Sarah here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. I am going to do a January flip through for you. This is my first Stalogy for 2023. Kind of chat through things I'm doing differently, what's worked, what hasn't. Just kind of thoughts along the way. And then I've set up a little bit of February that I'd show you as well. Depending on time for this timing of or length of this video, I might then just go to give a bit of a planner update, or I might make that a different video if I ramble too much, which, let's face it, is a high probability. So I showed bits of this, I think, when I showed my setup, but I'll just quickly go through what the first front pages look like. That's the opening, and I just have a bit of a sticker spread. I've put in so far just discoveries of like books or podcasts or things that I liked, and some photos. I'm going to pause actually. Not my last notebook of last year, but the one before that, I put tons of photos in, and for some reason then the last 3 months of last year I dropped off. And I don't know why I did. I actually really enjoy having photos in to look back on, and I kind of said to myself, all right, let's put more photos in again this year and try. And at the same time, my daughter was starting a new daycare, and they ask us to make like a love book, and you just put in photos and things that, you know, when they're feeling sad, they can go to. So we actually print out a bunch of photos, and I took all the ones that didn't end up going in, and I've started putting them through here, and I have a bunch more to do. And as soon as I've done it, I love turning to the pages and seeing it. So I'm hoping I can continue that on. So I have a discoveries and a lesson learnt page that I'll just fill as the 3 months go on. I just wanted to put a snapshot of what my fountain pen collection at the start of the year was. And then we go into January. If you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know that for these 3 months, I'm trying to see what it's like for all my current inked pens to kind of go through a story of colour. So it's starting off with like pinky purples, through to purples, through to blue blurples. So you will see that as we go on. And I'm trying to decorate within that family as well. So January, just a bit, I like literally my first sentence of the year made a mistake, but that is what it is. Made the decision to not put habit trackers in. I just want to see how it was, and just put a little bit of quote about goals. Just your normal calendar. A few little spreads. So this ink is Noodler's Black Swan in Australian Roses. That one is Robert Oster Burgundy Chocolate Notes. Robert Oster Australis Rose. Robert Oster Purple Hippo. Lots of Robert Oster. And then Ferris Wheel Press Madame Mulberry. This ink and pen combo was a disaster, but they are the inks that I used for this month. Not like I had to go in a particular order, I just kind of went with whatever I felt like, but for me they all related to each other in some way, so I thought I wanted to see what it would be like to use them for a whole month. I think only at one point did I use another colour, and that was just creating some tables. I just wanted to work out some numbers of things. As I've said, spreads that don't work, I try and leave and not cover up too much and not be kind of worried about blank pages either. In parts of this notebook, the things that really jump out to me is just how messy my handwriting is. But that is something I am trying to work on. I decided to see what it would be like for not just journaling, but for spreads to keep within those colours as well. And I don't mind it, whereas before I would journal in colours and something like this I would just do in like a black gel pen with this guy. So I didn't mind doing it like that. Going on, just pen wish lists. One thing I noticed with the Jinhao 80, I had a Lamy medium nib on it, but you can see that the ink, it starts off a lot darker and saturated and then gets lighter when I do continuous writing, and I think that's just the feed. It's a bit of a feed issue, which kind of sucks. And in a way, I almost prefer the lighter colour, but I guess that is what it is. This ink, the Burgundy Chocolate Notes, was by far my favourite. What I also did this month is if I did an entry but then I came back later on that night, it didn't bother me if I used a different colour if it was a different entry. So this is what I was talking about. I was just helping my mum clean out some stuff, and I was just writing out how much of things we had. So I just did the table it's Palo de Roshizuku Kirisami is what that one is. Interesting looking at those first couple of weeks, there really isn't much creative stuff in there, and I do notice that, look, I'm at the 16th there, and I tried to be a bit more conscious of that and do some more because I actually really enjoy doing it. But I think it was a bit light on this month, and I don't entirely know why. It just, I guess, happened. And also didn't have as many daily planners, and I don't know if it's just because it's the start of the year and don't have much on, but I think that's actually the only one for the month. I have organised an Aussie ink swap for January, and the person I'm sending ink to sent me a fabulous email with lots of their likes and dislikes, and so I just started writing out ideas of what inks I thought they would like or not like, and yeah, so I just wanted to capture that somewhere, and that has been sent off to her. Hopefully she gets it this week. This is a really good example of that change in ink colour in the Jinhao. Like up the top there, it almost looks black, and then that's probably truer as to what it is, and that's the feed. Interestingly, it's almost a tiny bit with the TWSBI there as well. I'm not sure what's happened there. I feel like this is more consistent compared to the Jinhao. It's another one that just jumps out at me. That's the Pilot E95S, which is just consistent and beautiful. I wanted to try and see what it was like. So this is one entry, this. And I knew that I then probably had like a page and a half of stuff that was private that I wanted to write. And so therefore it's easier to just do that. But I didn't want to start it there. I wanted it to just kind of be able to fold in on itself, because that's probably something I'd keep paper clips the whole time I carry this notebook around. So I wanted to see, I didn't want to do like a whole creative spread, because for me, it wasn't like the end of the entry. So this is just my attempt of just seeing something different, almost just like I was going to say bookend, but that's the wrong term. Just like a pause. So it's just a little bit of something to kind of finish off that page. And I know it kind of works. I kind of like it. Photos, as I said, I'm going to flip through there, but underneath there, for some reason, instead of using my commonplace book, I wrote like messy notes there, and that is something I did want to cover, so that's what I did. Again, you can see I was just aware that I really just didn't do much creative stuff at all, so just trying to put little bits in when I remembered. Slowly coming to the end of January. Oh, this is cool. So this spread I really, really enjoyed doing. I wanted to think a bit more consciously about pen and inks this year. So I just did a little mind map of some goals and, rules or boundaries that I wanted to set myself just around pen and ink purchase, consumption, etc. I'm just going to take a sip of tea. So what I've said around pens is, why do I want this pen? If I can't answer it, don't buy it. Acknowledge the FOMO, but don't get sucked into it. I really want to purchase my first Aussie bespoke pen, Australian made. I'd also really love to purchase a pen by an Australian pen maker, a female pen maker, but I'm yet to find one. So if you know of one, please comment below and let me know. Thinking about an everyday carry for when I return to work in a couple months' time, and if I don't use it, finds it another home. For ink, I think in terms of purchasing ink bottles, I should only purchase them if they're secondhand, because the reoccurring theme around ink is no one ever finishes a bottle. So just from a consumption consumerist point of view, that's a little rule I've set myself. If I don't like a sample, give it to someone. Try and go out of my comfort zone. Pulp Addiction do these random sample packs, and I'd love to purchase one and make that a currently inked for a month, just to really challenge myself with colours that I wouldn't normally use and find a good workhorse ink for work. I'd be interested to almost do this in every notebook as I go on in the year, because I think this is important. I'd be interested to see if it changes over time, but I found this really, really helpful. This is where I tried to make Nita handwriting. One of my pen friends in a letter sent me some really gorgeous washi tapes, so I just swatched them here, not using them in these couple months because they're just not in the right colours for this notebook, but I wanted to put them in here because this is when I received them. I think these ones are definitely my favourite, so hoping I can use them maybe in my next notebook. And getting to the end of Feb, and you can see kind of when different pens run out. So by this point, really just the E95S and TWSBI Go remained. I re-inked the TWSBI Go actually, and that gets us to the end of the month. I've tried something different for February, whereas I took all my inked pens and I just tried to do something a bit creative, but I also just kept going. And what I mean by that is there's little mistakes, but I was like, you know what, don't overthink it. I drew myself out some tiny little lines in pencil, just like the little boxes, and then I just did it. I think I missed the lack of creativity in the last month, and I just wanted to push myself a little bit but not overthink it. And do I hate those little imperfections? This I had to go over with another pen because my pen stopped working, but I actually don't mind it. I think it kind of looks cool. And I'm not sure if there's a way I can kind of carry that through Feb as my decorations, but I'm happy that I just went with something in the moment. It's something I'd like to do more of. So that's my February cover page. I've kept the calendar the same because I do kind of like that. And again, I've changed it up a little bit here. There was quite a bit of ghosting there, so I just put a couple stickers. I just found this quote that I liked, which is talk to yourself like you would someone you love. And even with a nice shimmer there. And might even do another spread in there because it has bled through a little bit. And this is just a February calendar so far. And usually I do put that in the middle and put either side and then have a page of like a general monthly to-do. What I found is that I prefer to-dos in like a week or a day because I don't flip back to the month. So just tried something different there. And that is all I've done so far. It's Feb tomorrow, so I'll probably do my first journal entry, and I am sticking with not having a habit tracker in here. I just needed a break from them. So that is my, just messed up my little clip there. Sometimes it catches. That is January in my Stalogy. It looks chunkier because of the paper clips, but let's see how much I've used. Seems, yeah, around a third, which is, well, that's what I said, I get around 3 months. I'm going to do my planner update in a different notebook, in a different video. Oh, listen to my words. But yeah, that is what January has been for me. And as you can see, these are the colours I'm going to use in Feb. So this one and this one are a carryover, and then the others just heading into kind of more of a truer purple zone, and I'm super excited to give all those pens a go and hopefully to get a little bit more creative journaling in here. And thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it, and I will chat to you all again soon. Bye.